another each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello. Hello again, my friend. Hello. Now. I will let you know that this is kind of a reaction to a meeting that I was just in, but I will not be yelling and screaming or nah. I already talked to my sponsor, so he called me and he's like, "Okay, D, we need to talk." I'm like, "If you're calling to lecture me, you ain't gonna fucking have it." He's like, "No, that's not what I'm calling to." I'm like, "Oh fuck." I was just telling him about the beginning of our phone call. I'm like, if you're calling to lecture me, I'm like, nope, that's not what I'm calling for. I was just confirming, letting people know that because a lot of the people coming to this go to the meeting, so it is an extension of that, but that's not what I'm going to talk about. So I already covered that with my sponsor, so I don't need to do it now. You know, doing it right can be really fucking hard, you know, because things change. Hi, Amber.
Hi, Amber.
I say hi. How rude of me. Bad.
Watch your cyst.
Huh?
Don't bang on your cyst.
Oh. Yeah, I was barely touching this part. I'm too much of a wuss. So, but yeah, I mean, AA. So AA is structured. It is what's that D word that we all hate? It's disciplined. It's sacrifice. It's a lot of things. I think the number one thing, and I think we should cover Zoom regular meetings. I mean, I'm not really seeing many problems there, but there is an etiquette in AA. We don't call them rules; we call them etiquettes because if we called them rules, then nobody would follow them. But
well,
go ahead.
Exactly, there is an etiquette, and it was brought up in the parking lot of that meeting.
Okay.
One of our members actually.
Okay.
And she said, you know, in person meetings you don't crosstalk, and that was talking over and cross talking. Chat is exactly that.
It is.
And it's one of the downsides of Zoom meetings.
Yep.
And that's exactly what was going on.
Yep. And I learned this because when Zoom first came out, things were going on and I abused it. And what I noticed was I was chatting and I'm like, I missed half the fucking meeting because I was chatting and not listening. I'm like, I can't do that. So I try and stay away from chat unless I'm encouraging someone.
There was a woman there, and I don't know if you noticed, but she was in absolute tears during that meeting.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to her and just said, you look like something's wrong. How can we help?
Yeah.
And so I was not paying attention in that regards, but nobody else was like paying her any mind.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't see her. I was too busy stirring the fucking pot.
Well, I understand. Not to bust her anonymity, but first name, she was Sarah.
Okay.
And she was absolutely, and she messaged back and just said she had gotten some sad news, blah, blah, blah type things.
Oh,
I just wanted her to know that somebody noticed.
Yeah, and thank you, because that's, instead of coming on here and saying we shouldn't do this, we talk about things that we do. Right. But yeah, chat is a contention. I'm excited too. Sometimes somebody says something and I want to speak up and support, and but what about that line that says 90% of the program's keeping our damn mouth shut? So um, there's certain things. One I wanted to bring up is I was in the meeting and I said I would like to call an emergency group conscious. And I bet only a few people in the meeting actually knew what I was saying, because when we unmuted, I called for it. People were like, "Oh, you can have a group conscious. That's in January." I'm like, "You better go read your traditions. I can call a group conscious whenever the hell I want to. I'm a member of AA," and I had to tell somebody else that. They
Are
wrote
there
me
any?
and said, "You need to stop chatting." I'm like, "You guys are you could talk about cookies, but I can't talk about AA and chat." I'm like, "This isn't. It's not right."
Cookies or M&Ms or whatever.
Yeah. Hi, Jillian.
Well, I mean, in fact, I was just now that you're here, Jillian, I agree with what you said. We were just discussing that. I agree with you that it is crosstalk,
Yeah.
and it's uncalled for.
Yeah. Here's a couple of things that I'm noticing in Zoom meetings, aside from the chat. And I just figured it out in this meeting. These people have been they've been in the positions for 4 years.
Is there?
And there's a tradition that says 6 months to a year is how long you hold those positions, and then you give them up. And if you start a meeting, it's not your meeting, it's God's meeting, it's the community's meeting. Just because you started it doesn't mean it's yours.
I haven't ever seen. Does AAWS actually have guidelines of how often you should have a group conscious?
Oh, I got a big old book, but
I'm just curious. I hadn't heard of one.
that's a yeah. I know it's in there somewhere. I don't remember where.
Because every other group that I've ever been associated with, it was monthly.
Yeah.
Because in that respects, I mean, there's always treasurer reports, and those are always important.
I can't talk to this and tell it because I went to Zoom, because now the microphone.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
I think it's usually every month, because there's usually so many moving parts that are going on. It is officially, yes, Jillian, it is up to the group. You're correct, because every group is autonomous and they can run it how they want according to the group conscious. But when your group conscious is every 3 months, you don't get anything solved.
Well,
because the people that brought it up are probably gone by that time, and it's actually just a way to keep power.
AAWS is very much like the Big Book itself, where it's suggestive only.
Sure.
They don't say you have, if you're going to be a sanctioned group, you have to do this, 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 and this.
Yeah, that's correct.
But I was just wondering if they actually had a guideline that, whatever, we suggest that every group have a group conscious once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how else are you going to figure out what you're going to send to AAWS out of
somewhere in here? I'm sure this is a GS
out of yeah. I mean, you got to figure out how much you're going to send to New York.
Yep. And central office and your local
Why exactly?
AA and all that. How often should an AA group have a group
Conscience.
Oh, here's one. Who can call a group conscious? Any member of the group. It doesn't say. I said, how often should an AA group have a group conscious? And it doesn't give me an answer. AA and Z. That doesn't say. I'm not going to sit there and dig and dig and dig.
No, that's fine.
Every meeting that I've ever been to, it's every month. So that's why 3 months seems weird.
That's why I said that too.
Yeah.
I've never been associated with a group that didn't hold one every month.
And you need to know what's going on, and considering how new Zoom really still is, I think it's important that we meet every month. You know, because our primary purpose is stay sober and help the alcoholics to achieve sobriety.
Again, they don't solicit. They follow the seventh tradition. And if you're going to take my money, I want to know how it's spent.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's a good point. What are some other things? I was taught that if I am chairing a meeting, right, let's say I'm chairing a meeting, I brought up the topic, and we're sitting there in silence. I was told that you start picking on people. That's what I was told. I was told that silence is bad. We're not there to meditate. We're there to talk about our problems. And that some people might be uncomfortable to speak, but I found a lot of times you call on them and they're like, I was thinking about speaking, but since you called on it, and they feel a little special for doing it. What? My in-person.
I was just going to say, Jillian, have you ever asked him about it?
I'm sorry?
I was just asking Jillian if she's ever asked them about a group conscience.
Yeah, they need to have one or they're not an AA group. My question would be, where's the money going?
That's exactly
what my question would be. If there's no group conscious, I'm going to
accountability.
Yeah, so you need to say, hey, where's the money? Where's my money? Where's the money? Where's it going? Because we are to be accountable. Your treasurer should be telling you each month where everything was.
Exactly.
How much the prudent reserve is down to the fucking penny. If we don't do that, we are not accountable. Something weird's going on there, Jillian. Just be careful. That's all. Doesn't mean it's not.
Well, it may or may not be weird, but it's not being discussed and it's not being transparent.
Yeah, and that means not accountable. That's what that means.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always ask nice too. Hey, hey.
Well,
Bill,
there you go.
Anything you got to say? We have two conversations going on. So what happens? There's a 12-second delay. So I've asked them, and we do have a treasurer's report every week. Oh,
that's good.
It. Yeah, so they print it. That's a good thing. So they are being more accountable with that. Okay, awesome. See, yeah. So
the rest of it is semantics on how you're going to run the group.
Yeah. But I bet if something disrupted that group, they'd be like, okay, we need to have a group conscience. So who knows? I'm guessing educated guesses. But at the same time, then she goes out and it's an in-person and it's never been as big as it is now. Something's got to be going right. Something, because even in the group we're talking about, I love the group. I get a lot out of the group. But I'm getting so many complaints from other people that I can't be a part of the group. I just, and I don't have answers, so it's frustrating for me. What would be the role? So when we are in Zoom meetings, there's different roles, right? So you have a host, and a host job is to
open.
Yeah, they're supposed to open they open the room, they set the security, they let people in, they make co-hosts. Their only job is to keep the room safe. That's their number one job. Right? And then they use chat to post things like, you don't need to raise your hand in this meeting. If they just put, hey, we don't do double dipping here in their format, then it would stop, by the way. And for resources. That's it. Maybe encouragement. Hey, that was a great share. Otherwise, keep your chats private. And then if you need to, then, if I need to talk to Jillian or Amber or Daryl, I send them a regular text message. I don't use Zoom. So, And usually I'm bitching, but so the host job is to make sure all that is going on, and then the chairperson's job is to make sure that the meeting continues going
Close.
for a full hour, which isn't always easy. Those grassroots meeting we go over though. We'll have 3 people in there and we'll yak for an hour and a half.
Right.
Oh, last night's meeting was
That was an amazing meeting.
that I have to say it was one of the better meetings I have been to in a long time. Just the heartfelt. Oh man, it was it was undescribable, but it was so nice. It was so nice to have that, and to have those people.
Billy tore me up.
He's a great addition. Yeah, we've got a couple of people in that group, and I think it's turning out well. It's all God. You can't have that. Kitties. Okay. What other etiquette? I mean, I think we've kind of covered it. But what I'd like to do, okay, I think I'm just going to do the short version of each. And that doesn't mean I'm going to talk on every single one, but I'm just going to read the short version of every tradition. Tradition 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon a unity. And basically, that means that you're going to sacrifice the individual need for the group, because without the group, we don't survive. Tradition 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority. This is what we read right before we start the group conscious. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscious. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. Okay. What does that mean? That means that there's no boss in AA. So earlier in the meeting when I was talking, power got overridden. And everybody knows here, I confronted a group on some bullshit. And it worked. I didn't necessarily go about it the right way, but I'm getting better. All right. I talked to my sponsor already, so I don't want to hear any shit. But that's what's neat. That's what's neat. He called me and I was still angry and I was defensive, and that disappeared in about 15 seconds because I knew who I was talking to. I knew that I was going to do, my brain's like, no, Dion, we got to be accountable. And he's right. This is, sometimes you got to do it from the inside. And, so there was some, but that helped me because then I can come on here and do this a little bit better instead of just coming on here and whining. Who wants to listen to me whine? That's it. Hi, Chris. Good to see you, brother. Love you. Progress, progress, progress. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. Oh, there's the other etiquette. If somebody says, hi, I'm Dion, don't say, who are you? Are you an alcoholic? That's not required. Okay? That's you being judgmental. And if you do it and you're reactionary, I know that you haven't completed the steps. I know you're a 2-stepper, actually. People that interrupt, when people interrupt and do all that, what have they not learned? Delayed gratification. What do they have? Lurking notions. Yay! They took away the sleeve? Why? No, not that I'm ever going to eat another Hot Pocket in my life. Hot Pocket. Jim Ganovan or whatever his name is. Good. I'm glad you feel better. Amber's got the ick. Tradition 4. Each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. And that's what we talk about here a lot. Autonomy. We were just talking about Jillian's group. They don't necessarily have a group conscious. This other group has 3. They are allowed to do that. Yes, they are. Okay. In order to change that, you got to go to the group conscience and change it. But in the meantime, as an AA member, you can call the group conscience anytime you want. All you have to do is put it to a vote. There are no bosses. When somebody said earlier, they said, you can't call that. And I said, I am an AA member. Yes, I can. Read your traditions. Okay, I very much can. I'm a big book thumper. I won't argue with me on this. Well, do, because I want to find out where I'm wrong. But only my friends get to do that. Okay. I tell you now, if you want to find my boundary, gaslight me in a meeting. You'll find my boundary. I will call you out. I will call you a bully. Then you're going to get mad because you are one. Then you're going to get all angry. I'm going to let everybody watch you just be angry. So, but you can only be autonomous as long as it's not affecting groups or AA as a whole. So if you say, hey, we're AA, and in order to get in the door, it costs you $5. Yeah. Or, hey, here's a sponsor, but you got to pay for it. I'm just making shit up. Okay. It would be a no-go, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Tradition 5, each group has one primary purpose to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Sitting in a group waiting for the newcomer to show up is not carrying the message. That's sitting in a group waiting for them to show up. Carrying the message means detox meetings, hospital meetings. It means, and we call it H&I, hospitals and institutions. Now, they made it hard for us to do this, so it's not entirely on us. But here in Adams County, that's the reason I'm bringing the detox. I got some on my nose.
No, I gotta go.
Oh, do you? Okay.
All right, man. I'll see you in an hour.
Okay. Yep. 3:00.
Love you guys. Take care.
Tradition 6. An AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. All right. Now, you won't see this as much. You will not see a treatment center that says we are AA based. No, they say we are 12 step based because we might have different people in that treatment center. We might have an addict and an alcoholic. We might have, I don't know how much they mix them up. Okay. But we do 12 step. Now, sometimes you will see ads for Alcoholics Anonymous. We are not the ones buying them. That is a public service announcement done by the state. PBS used to do it a lot. They used to do it a lot. We do not promote here. We are an attraction only. Why? Because promoters is old behavior. Promoter means money, property, and prestige, which will divert me from my primary purpose. What's my primary purpose? To carry the message to the alcoholic who still suffers. It was decent for a hot pocket. You crack me up. I can never be mad in these when Amber comes. That's why I don't rant anymore, because I'm too busy laughing. If I came here to preach, I don't think I'd be able to do it anymore just because of my friends. But I think it's neat that we've gotten to a point where you can come on and okay. I tell you something though, don't you ever give me shit and then be like, well, I was just joking around, because I will tear you up on that one. Okay, it's easy. Which part's funny? Which part's the funny part? Because I didn't get it. Okay, stop gaslighting me. That's what that is. Oh, it's just a joke. That's gaslighting. The whole meeting was full of gaslighting. Oh, fuck your feelings. Anytime, right? I know. Towards the end of my drinking and I didn't have a wife to cook for me. I know how to cook. I just don't fucking like it. I can cook. If I'm making a chicken Mexican casserole tomorrow, and everybody always asks me the recipe, and I'm like, nope, because I had to pull teeth to get it myself. All right. Anyway, so I lived on Hot Pockets. That's why I'm like, ugh. You know, it's like thinking of vodka. Ugh. But yeah, you're still young. Once you hit 45, don't eat Hot Pockets anymore. Your body, no. Your whole pooping arrangement will change. All right. Tradition 7, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. If my wife goes to an open meeting with me, number one, she is not allowed to share according to the rules, but each group is autonomous, and I've been in plenty of meetings where they let non-alcoholics share. I don't mind. It's an open meeting. I don't mind. I got to listen to the drugs and everything else too. I'd actually rather listen to them, because if it's solution oriented, I'm fine with it, right? But what she cannot do is put $1 in the basket. She cannot put any money in the basket. No. And she's been to meetings with me. I'm like, no, you can't. She's like, do you have $1? I'm like, you can't put money in the basket. You're not an alcoholic. But she wants to contribute. She wants to be a part of, Al-Anon. Right? Now, if you die and you will money to AA is declined, you're dead. You're not an AA member anymore. You're dead. You can't do it. We won't take it. If you are an outside source, let's say the state of Colorado wanted to give AA $20,000. Nope, we're going to turn it down. No, we are self-supporting through our own contributions. Now match this together. A halfway house for homeless alcoholics and tradition 7. I pulled it off. I'm pulling it off. The Hayworth house makes no money. It makes no money. It's broke, but it will pay its rent every single month from the very beginning. This. Why? Because of people like you. I didn't go to everywhere and say, hey, you need to be a part of the Hayworth house. No, I went to my AA friends. This is an AA run house. York Street's owned by AA. If AA wanted to buy this house, eventually I could. Now, it doesn't mean it is AA, but it is a 12th step based house based on these traditions. These will be the traditions that we follow. Well, guess what? There's no bosses. There's no bosses at the house. I'm not a boss. There's no managers. We're probably going to call them like leaders, sponsors, something, but it ain't going to be some kind of title. The Hayworth house doesn't have clients. No, we don't have clients. I'm not getting paid anything. I'm not a professional. I am, but I don't. All right? No. And it'll work. It will work. I have all the faith in the world. And I know this because I've lived it. I've actually lived it. It could be really fucking scary. But I've seen a community of homeless people come together and they make it fucking beautiful. These people are so inventive. They've had to be. They've had to be. Now they got, okay, so what am I going to be working with? Well, I'm going to be working with a bunch of sober horse thieves. Yeah. And we're going to turn them into working members of society. I'm going to take their thieving and I'm going to utilize it for something good. And then they're going to go home each night and be like, you know what? It was so fun working with horses and cats and dogs today, because they're all going to start out with animals. I'm 2 steps ahead on all this shit. There's so much more than I talk about. Now you know why my brain's always like, fuck, shut up, Dion. All right. Tradition 8, my favorite tradition. Do you have a favorite tradition? Ask somebody, what's your favorite tradition? They'll be like, they'll say 3. The only requirement from everything, because they know that one. Or 7. They will not mention anything because they don't know. I hope your sponsor covered the traditions too. Mine did. All of mine did. They go with the steps. As soon as we were done with the steps, we went to traditions. All right. Alcoholics Anonymous, and it doesn't always happen, right? And I need to rephrase that. If your sponsor no, maybe your sponsor wasn't taught that way. Autonomy. So strike what I said. That was wrong. Hey, this is my favorite. Why? Because Tradition 8 is all about creating service work, and that's exactly what I do. What do you think the Hayworth House is? What do you think the Detox is? What do you think Grassroots is? What do you think the treatment centers? Yeah, I'm bringing treatment too, man. Gotta, or it ain't gonna work. Okay. Oh, let's put a detox up. Great. Where are they going after? Oh shit, after? Okay. I've been presenting this novel idea, and it's novel, that there is no time between that there's going to be no time between detox and treatment. People are like, what? We will utilize the halfway house. I have another area that will be for people in between, because if I let them go home, they ain't gonna make it treatment. So if I can hold on to them for 2 weeks and put a little bit of money in their pocket, get them a shower, a haircut, and ready for treatment, let's fucking do it. Don't let them just, AA comes up with Bridge the Gap. We tried, but it's failing. It's gone. I haven't heard Bridge the Gap in AA for a year now. It didn't work. I tried to tell them it wasn't going to work. Unless you were going to hang out with a motherfucker for 2 weeks straight, okay, you're going to have to put a leash on them. Somebody has got to keep an eye on that person until they get to treatment. 24 hours a day. Or it won't work. I know this. And I'm not going to set them up to fail. Nope. All right, so what is Tradition 8? Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. Yes, I'm a special worker, but I am not employed. But I am a special worker, you bet. I advocate. I'm a big advocate, right? If you were just in the meeting I was in, you saw. And even then, Daryl said, Dion, you got to kind of, and I hear what he's saying, but I don't, and I told him I don't agree. I think I did it right. I wasn't that mad when I left the meeting, and I left. I actually left because somebody brought up a good point. It was Jillian. She's here, so I can say her name. Jillian says we need to raise our hand. This is out of control. And I thought, there's no way I can follow that rule. I got to go. These people already got it. But somebody needed to say something, because the thing is I've been in that meeting for 6 months continuously, but for a year. And every day I get complaints like I can do something about it. And I was tired of it today. I was tired of the complaints. I was tired of being interrupted while I was talking. It's rude, and it's done intentionally, and it's called gaslighting. And if you gaslight me in a meeting, I will rip you a new asshole. And no, I do not own amends. You found my fucking boundary, and it hurt. I will make it hurt. Why? So you don't fucking do it again. Because the next time it's going to be worse for you. I'll tell you what I'm not shy about: confrontation. I'm going to confront the executive director of Colorado Consortium for Prescription Drugs. You think you in an AA meeting got something? No. And if you gaslight me, I will call you a bully in front of everybody. And I did. I said, you're gaslighting. No, we're not. So, bam, 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 bam. I wasn't arguing. I was trying to state something. And every time I talked, people were talking over me. So I got louder. And this isn't even my full volume. I'm just doing this so I don't blow your ears out. That's not my full volume. And you will not be able to top it unless you scream real loud. All right, so Tradition 9, AA as such not be organized. The furthest which is weird because we're structured, but we're not organized. It's not what we think. AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards and committees directly responsible for those that they serve. Night watch, bridge the gap. These are all things that we do on our time without pay. 12-step calls. Yes, that's what that is. Central office. Abby down at central office. Tradition 9. Yes, she gets fucking paid. Trust me, you don't want her job. You don't want her job. Go down to central office and look at all the different pamphlets, all the different shit. Okay. Not only that, but Abby's been around for a while. She kind of earned that spot, but she's a perfect person for it. I love it. They do great work. They do what they can, but I can't go to them and say, why aren't you standing up for standing? Because AA doesn't do that. I can't go to AA members and say, you need to do this. I can't, but I can make a flyer and put it on the board. Okay. What am I doing? I'm separating AA from my life. Okay. That reminds me, these parking lot meetings are about recovery. Let's not get caught up in sports and the shit going on in the world. I know we love our sport, but because when new people come in and they hear you talking that, no, let's try and get to that. I'm saying it because I do it. Yeah. I tell you now, if Kansas City and Denver plays and Amber and I are in the meeting the next day, we're going to talk about it. She'll be like, man, we kicked your ass again. And they'll be like, yeah, but those were bad calls. No, we're not going to beat them this year. I'm not counting on it. I do, however, think it'll be a good game. Should fine with me. All right. Tradition 10. Man, I'm just Mr. Yacky. Where am I at? 37 minutes. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the AA name ought not be drawn into public controversy. Yeah, don't do that around Will Smith or he'll slap you and say, you keep it out of your mouth. I'm sorry. That was a good joke, though. Yes, I laugh at my own jokes. You want to know why? Because I can't hear you laughing. And if I don't laugh at my own jokes, my brain doesn't get the indicator to move on. That's why people, when they're talking and there's nobody around, that's why they laugh. It's a little radio trick. And if I laugh, then you're like, oh, I'm supposed to laugh at that. It's weird. All right. No. No. What's the number one thing you do not talk about at the club, at any AA thing? Politics. No. Religion. We don't talk religion. No. We don't talk. I'm going to use trans. I'm going to tell you now, I don't care. I've never cared. Since I was young, yeah, I've always chased skirts, but I always thought, hey, he's a pretty good looking dude. That doesn't mean I wanted to do him, but I can appreciate a good looking guy. I was in the meeting, I think last week, and Israel says, hey, you're a good looking dude. I'm like, so are you, man. He is. He's a good looking guy, man. If I was gay, I'd date him. All right. I really don't care what people. I've been called gay and stuff all my life, but no, I like girls. So, not that it matters. Doesn't matter. See, it doesn't fucking matter. That's why I understand why we have trans meetings, AA trans meetings. I get that, but we shouldn't have to have them. We shouldn't have to. Yeah. In my group, I tell you now, that's your favorite tradition, what, 10? 10 or 9? Because sometimes it's a little off. All right, tradition 11. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. Ah, shit. See, we can't be promoters. You know what I am? I'm a promoter. I am. I've done emceeing. I've officiated weddings. I've been on radio. People are like, what are you? I'm like, I'm a public figure. I've been saying that for 20 years. People are just now getting it. I'll give you a good example. What does RuPaul do? Nothing. She does nothing. That's what I am. I'm an advocate. I help make things happen. Yeah. Nobody's offered me money for it yet, though. Actually, that's not true. I have been offered money. You already knew the answer. Yeah. I want to tell you who it is because my pride wants me to tell you. So I'm just going to tell you. It was the NFL. Not the NFL itself. Okay. But a person from the NFL that is pretty popular in Colorado. And I'm not going to bring up the name because they do good work. I just knew it wasn't going to work. There was too much money involved. Then they're like, oh, we're going to get a hold of the press. We'll do this and we'll make it big. I'm like, yeah, it's just it won't work. It might work for you, but it won't work for me. So, and guess what? It didn't work. So 10 is your favorite? Yeah. No public. And I understand that because, you know, here's the thing. And I think this is what I'm kind of trying to get to. AA is not a safe space, but it should feel that way. And that was the point I was trying to make at the meeting. And it's one that I doubt anybody else discussed. Okay. If you're sitting there fucking around, let's say I'm talking, right? And the newcomer sees you talking over me, they are not going to share. You're driving away newcomers. And that's what I said. That was my whole point. And whew, I call it a dunk dunk whoosh. Dunk dunk whoosh. I stole that and you can too. Right? On attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. Oh. The press will fuck with anybody but AA. They are actually taught in newspaper school. I don't know what it's called, journalism, right? They're taught in journalism school that you do not print an AA member's name. It is a solid rule. Okay. So you tell me, does AA have power and control? No. Yes. Very much so. Is it real? No. It's God's. That's why we get it. Because we're like, yeah, we did this meeting, we helped this person, but who walks out of the meeting and go, oh, I made that meeting great. I was the person that, see? Not only that, but you will get your ass fired. You will be ostracized. You will. And then you'll meet our lawyers. AA has lawyers on retainer. Weird. Yeah. You think there aren't lawyers in AA? Of course there are. Do they get paid? Doubt it. But they don't have to write up much, do they? See? Yeah. Anonymity. So what are we saying here? Because we say Alcoholics Anonymous. This is what anonymity. What does he say? I've never watched a Trump speech. And Kamala Harris, her voice in and of itself makes me want to rip out my hair. Just hearing her talk, it's like screeching to me. But I don't know what I said. So, oh, his lawyers. Is that what? I wish I could do a Trump impression. So, that's as far as we're going to go. Yeah. Oh, I say no politics. And what does Amber do? She breaks the fucking rules. God. She wasn't, but it was fun. Anonymity. So what is anonymity? In our case, I can go around anywhere I want and tell, oh, I made that meeting. Make AA great again. I so wish I could do an impression of him. We're not talking politics. We're having fun. All right. Thank you for that, Amber. I can hear him saying it in my head too. You can't tell somebody else's story. You can't tell somebody else's story. I don't give a fuck what somebody has told you. Keep your damn mouth shut. Even here, you know, we know who we're talking about. I didn't bring up any names from the meeting and the people doing it. I wasn't specific on it. Well, I was a little bit. Yeah. Well, this is. I swear to God, you're just like my daughter. I swear to God. Maybe I shouldn't let you two meet, because then I might be fucked. It's already hard enough to keep up with both the one of you individually, right? All right. So anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all of our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. Okay? The 12 step and the 12 tradition are almost exactly alike in a sense. Principles. Okay? The principles. That's what it just said. It said again that we're going to practice the principles. And we're going to do that by placing the principles before personalities. See, when I went to the meeting today, this is what I was doing. I placed a principle before a personality. And they didn't like it. They didn't like it. And it tells me everything. It tells me everything. I know two-stepping when I see it. I know a mutual admiration society when I see it, and I could see it. Okay? Yeah, so what are some things? Number one, if you've been in a position for more than a year, you need to get the fuck out. I was at the 3 p.m. meeting. I'd held that position for a year, and then I stepped down. And then they stopped doing 4 meetings, right? It wasn't because of me. At first I was like, that's weird. Was I doing that much work or was it, but I don't know what the real reason was, but it isn't because of me. I know that. I was only chairing one day, but I stepped down. I'm like, I've done my time. Somebody else needs to take over. But nobody decided to take over, and that's the hard part. But I've got to move forward. I'm not going to stay in that stagnant position. Right? You should be like, okay, secretary, treasurer, and then central office representative, alternate GSR. You should experience all of these. Every single person. So if we don't rotate, people don't get a chance to do it. What part of our coin? It says service. That's service. It is a service position. And you need to do one. And you should only be doing one in one group, and that's it. But the hard part is that 20 people will do 80% of the work. That isn't how AA used to be. Man, you'd be like, can anybody read for me? And there'd be like 10 hands going up. That's what it used to be. Not that I'm whining about the good old days, because I am. Right. So, yeah, man. I've been doing this a long time. I know what is what. I mean, these traditions were driven into my head when I was 18 years old by a man who had been doing it for 20 years, who had lived on the streets 20 years before that. Okay? So, part of it is this. I'll bring this up and then I'll just kind of end, and I'll go ahead and end it. Now, when these new people come into AA and they see this going on, what they think is that's just the way it is. And if nobody ever says anything, then they're not going to say anything because they're going to think they're going against the grain and they're going to get yelled at. So when you have a position like that and somebody like me comes in, yeah, I'm going to say something. And somebody sat there and said, you're just trying to be controlling. You're just trying to be controlling. And so I brought up, well, you've been in a position. Yeah, I said, if any of you have been in your service position for more than a year, you need to get out. Oh, that lit it. That lit it. Here was the first part. I called for a meeting, and then they're like, hey, can I bring something else up real quick, Dion? Which I thought, yeah, go ahead. But then another person just kept talking and talking and talking, and it wasn't the same person that talking and talking and talking and talking. You know what that is gaslighting. She knew I wanted to bring something up, so I interrupted her ass. And I said, I know what you're doing. I called for a meeting, I called for a group conscience. But yeah, so now I'm gonna have to think about it, see if I owe any amends. At the moment, my justified mind can't figure it out, so I'm gonna have to wait a little bit. So, because my brain's just justifying shit right now. So I can't ask it. So what am I going to use? Delayed gratification. All right. We'll see a lot of you in 29 minutes. Thank you all for being here. You know, sometimes we go through these things so we can figure out where we belong. The other thing I want you to know, I am looking at starting a noon meeting. And yes, it is partially because of this, but I've been planning it for a few weeks. But I just wanted to see what was going on with this meeting first, just the weekday. And I'm doing that so we all have a place to go then. Okay? Because fuck them. I said I wasn't coming back. I ain't coming back. I'll be there on the weekend, but it's not the same meeting to me. It's a totally different meeting. I'm just going to do the weekdays because we already have a noon. We already have the noon, and I'm not going to contend with that. I want to add on to it. And maybe we can even take that noon and switch it over so you're not even under happy trudgers anymore. You can always break off if you want. You can. So I'm not big on division now. What I will not do is go to back to that meeting and say, hey, this meeting sucks. Here's this one. So I'm going to give it to you and you can do that. I'm kidding. They'll know. Because when I said I'm not coming back to this meeting, I heard a bunch of, oh, man. Yeah, I did. There's a lot of people in that meeting that, you know, that's the thing. I love the people in the meeting. There's just 2 or 3 people that are fucking ruining it for everybody. If the chief, okay. And what they decided was they're going to talk about it in 3 months. So there's 3 months of assholism. That's not an acceptable answer to me, honestly. The answer was, okay, we will do better. That's the answer. Okay, yeah. You know what? You're right. Huh. Okay, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be doing that. The other people don't get to. So, yeah. You know who does that? I don't know. I believe they call it narcissism. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And my little pot shots here. That's how I know I'm justifying, and it is in my head on whether I need to make an amend or not, though. It's there. But I'm not going to decide that till tomorrow when I go to a new meeting there. I love you. Peace out. Thanks for making my days better, guys, and thanks for having my back. I know that you folks have my back when I'm not around. I know that. And it's nice. Makes me feel, it finally makes me feel like I'm a fucking part of something, man. 8 years I've been trying to be a part of something. See, I'm looking for a home group. If I can't find it, I will make it. I will just create it then. So I'm not doing it out of spite. I'm doing it so that we have some real fucking AA. Okay. Let me put it this way. You don't need a password and the room. I have never had a bomber. And I have been running meetings on Zoom for years. I've even here, I think Amber and somebody was here. I had a bomber and he stayed and listened. Don't fuck with me and don't gaslight me in a meeting. I love you too, Julian. Thank you, everybody. I love you. Peace out. For reals, I'm going.